Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be dealing with this flowchart problem, which we're going to use to complete this trace table. This question is gotten from the Computer Science IGCSE paper 2, component 1 of the May June 2024. All right, so here's the question. I'm going to try to display it in a way that it will be easy for us to handle. Okay, so here is the question. And we're going to make any entries here. Okay, they are basically the same thing. I just have to open the same file twice so that we can use the screen for the entire exercise. Okay, so here we're expected to of course use these values as the entry. Okay, and then we're working with this flow chart. Okay, so we're starting of course from the start, and then we do input limit. Okay, so the first value will be inputted into limit. So I am going to strike out this first value here, and then then I'm going to get the text to enter. So we're entering 7 here. Okay, so I haven't done that. The next thing is that your count is initialized with number 1. So count becomes 1. Okay. After that, we're now moving here, input number count. So we're making the next input into this numbers array here in position 1, which is the index 1 here. Okay, so that is 47. So we're inputting 47 into this. So here is 47. Okay, so we're moving on from there. So this is the input. So here now, if you watch, your count increased by 1. Okay, so we can come back here and increase count, okay, by 1, which will make count 2. So the next thing that we're going to do now is count greater than limit, that is 2 greater than 7 here, which is the limit, and the answer is no. So we're going back up here to make another entry. So the next entry that we're going to make is in index 2 of numbers, okay, because our count is 2. So which is 50, okay, which is 50. Before I continue, it is important for us to strike out these guys that we've already entered. So we take out 47, take out 50 just to avoid mistakes. Okay, so once we've done that, we're now here. So count is again increased by 1. So we're going back to add 1 to count. Okay, so count is increased by 1, so count becomes 3. So the next thing we need to do now is to check again. Is 3 greater than 7? The answer is no. Why? Because limit is still 7. Yeah, so 3 is not greater than 7. So since it is no, we're going back again to do another input. So we are inputting in position 3, which is this one now, position 3, and we're inputting 52, which is the next entry we're supposed to make. Yet again, we will take out this to avoid confusion. Okay, so we're here now. Now the next part again, the count is going to increase by 1. Yeah, count plus 1. So count becomes 4. So let's do that quickly. So count becomes 4. Okay, so after that, we're now checking, is 4 greater than 7? Is count greater than 7? Is 4 greater than 7? The answer is no. So because it is no, we're taking this direction. So we're going to make another entry again. So we're entering into index 4 because count is 4 here. Yeah, okay, so what are we entering? We're entering the next value, which is 60. Okay, okay, so since we've entered 60, it is important for us to come back here again. So I like to do that often so that I will avoid mistakes. I won't enter a value that I have already entered before. Okay, so since we've done that, that's here. Count has increased by 1. Count is 5. So we say 5, and then is 5 greater than 7? Yeah, is 5 greater than 7? The answer is no. So we're going back up again to make more entry. Okay, so inputs in position 5. So we're entering the next value. So the next value in position 5 is 80. 80 is the next value. Okay, so as usual, let's take the 80 out to avoid confusions. Okay, so we're now here. Count is again increased by 1. Okay, so since count is increased by 1, count becomes 6. Yeah, 6. Okay, so is 6 greater than 7? The answer is no. So we're going back up again to do another input, and this time around we're doing the input in position 6. Yeah, because count is 6, which is 63. So we're entering 63 into position 6 of numbers. Okay, since we've done that, we are now back here again, and count is again increased by 1. So we are going to add 1 to it, which will be 7. The next thing we need to do now is that is 7 greater than 7? Remember, is 7 greater than 7? The answer is no. So we go back up again to make another entry. Okay, so this time around we are entering input, which is in position 7, which is this man. And what are we entering? We're entering 70. Remember, we've entered 63 before now. So let's go back to take everything out, know that we're done with the entries. So basically we're done with the inputting of the values into the array. Get it? All right. So since we've done that, uh, count again. Remember, we just finished this very stage, so we're here now. Count again is increased by 1. Okay, so let's do that quickly. So let's increase count by 1. Count by 1, 8. Okay, so the question is 8 greater than 7? Yes, that is the truth. 8 is greater than 7, so we're taking the yes direction. So flag will be equal to true. Okay, so where is flag? Flag is there. So since we are on this line, we can just choose to continue on this line. Okay, and then we do true. Okay, yeah, let me make that up. Okay, sorry. Yes, it is very important. Yeah, true. So count is true. So because count is true, we're now here. Is count equal to true? The answer is yes. Count is equal to true. So we take this direction and not this one. Okay. So we now having flag equals to false. So we can say false. So here we are, we can say false. Okay. The next thing is count. Count is now equal to 1. So you can choose to still enter this value here, okay, because they happened at the same time, or you can just choose to do it on the next line. It doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, what we're going to check is the entries along the column, okay, not the spaces you leave before making the entries. Okay, so again, I can just put this down here. So I can just say count is now 1, right? Good. Okay, count is 1 now. So what next should we do? So since count is 1, the next thing we need to do now is count greater than limit. Is count greater than limit minus 1. So we're now checking. Remember that count is 1. So is 1 greater than 6? Because limit is here is 7. Yes, limit here is 7. So 7 minus 1 is 6. Is 1 greater than 6? The answer is no. So because it is no, we're now taking this direction. So we're now checking, is number 1, is this element here greater than this one? Yeah, is this element greater than this one? Because count is 1, count plus 1 is 2. So is count 1 greater than count 2? Is count 1 greater than count 2? The answer is no, because count 1 is not greater than count 2. We are now taking this direction. So when we are here now, this is going to increase by 1. Okay, so count is going to increase by 1. So count becomes 2 now. Okay, so we're going back here. Is 2 greater than 6? Remember, 7 minus 1, which is limit here, minus 1 is 6. So 2 is not greater than 6. So this is no. So we're going back up here again. Now we are checking um we're now checking numbers 2 against numbers 3, right? So is 50 greater than 52? The answer is no. So we go back up here again, and count is increased by 1. So let's increase count by 1. So count becomes 3 now. So we now go back up here. We now go back up here to also check. So we now go back up here to check. Is 3 greater than 6? So just remember at the back of your mind that this value would remain 6 at least for the main time. Okay, so this will always be 6 at least for the main time. Okay, all right. So remember, we're here where the count is 3. Okay, so is 3 greater than 6? The answer is no. So we go back up here again, and then we're comparing numbers 3 against numbers 4. Where's numbers 3? This is numbers 3. We're comparing this against that. Is 52 greater than 60? The answer is no. So we're going back up here again so that we can increase count by 1. So count becomes 4. Okay, so since count is 4, we continue on this path. Okay, so is 4 greater than 6? The answer is no. So we're going back up again to compare numbers 4 against number 6 against numbers 5. Okay, so is 60 greater than 80? The answer is no. 60 is not greater than 80. So we're going back to the node direction, and then we're increasing our count by 1 again. So count becomes 5. Okay, count is 5. So we're moving back up here again. Is 5 greater than 6? The answer is no. So we go back up here again to compare count 5, which is 80, against 63. You get it? We're comparing count 5, which is 80, against count 6, which is 63. So is 80 greater than 63? The answer is yes. Now, since that is the case, we're taking this direction. So we do swap is equal to count. Swap will be equal to numbers count. So numbers count, remember count is 5. So where is swap? Swap is, so let's go to this direction. Okay, so here is where we will enter the value for swap, and swap will now be equal to 80. You see, swap is now 80. So because swap is 80, we now proceed to this next one. We're now taking the value of uh count 5 plus 1, that is count 6, into count 5. So in other words, we are taking this value into this. Okay, so you can choose to do that here, or you can choose to come down to do it. Okay, so it doesn't really matter where you do it. So let me just do it down here. Since I've already come to the end of this, let me keep moving like that. Okay, so this count here becomes 63. Okay, since this count is 63, so what next should I do? So we're now here. Now, numbers plus, so number 7, numbers at position 6, sorry, becomes the value of swap. Okay, so swap is put into numbers 6. Okay, so number 6 is this one. So what is the value of swap? Swap is 80. Okay, remember, swap here is 80. So that's why we put this there. Okay, so having done that, we're now moving this way. Flag is equal to true. So where is flag? Flag is next here. So we now change flag to true. So flag is true. Okay, let me make this uppercase, just like the question, says. Okay, so we're here, and then the next thing for us to do is to increase our count by 1. Okay, now you can choose to come here to increase count if you want, but let me go this direction, like the snake style, yeah. So here I will now make my count 6, because count is now increased to what? To 6 by adding 1 to it. Okay. So here again, we're back here. Is 6 greater than 6? The answer is no. 6 is not greater than 6. So because 6 is not greater than 6, we're taking the no direction. Okay. So number 6 against number 7. So we're comparing number 6 against number 7. Now remember that the new value of number 6 is now 80. And the value of number 7 is still the same as 70. So is 80 greater than 70? The answer is yes. So we're taking this yes direction. So we're taking swap here. We're taking swap, and then we're putting count. Remember, we're still in 6, so we're putting 80 into swap. 80, okay, because we are along this direction. Let me take this up a bit. Okay, good. Good. So our swap becomes 80. So we're here, right? We're here. Now, the next thing is that we're now going to put the value of numbers. We now say numbers will be equal to number 6 will now be equal to number 7. So you can still choose to do it on this direction, or you can come down a bit if you want. So since I'm moving like this, so let me just come down here. Okay, this is number 6 will now be equal to number 7. So 70 will now be put into here. Okay, so 70 will now be here. All right, so after that, what next do we do? So we're here, and then we now put the value of swap into index 7. Yeah, so here becomes 80. Okay, so here becomes 80. Now after that, flag will now become true. So we come here, and then we still maintain the value true, okay, into a flag. Why do I keep forgetting to make this uppercase? What's my problem? Okay, So here we are. So this is now true. So we now move up to this part. So this one becomes 7 now. So the value of count is now 7. So since we are already here, so let's go to this next line. We have to skip this very line. Okay. Here becomes 7. 7 here. Good. So this is now 7. So we now move here. Is 7 greater than 6? The answer is yes. 7 is indeed greater than 6. So since it is yes, we're taking this direction. So we're taking this direction. So we're saying the yes angle, we're moving this way. So is flag equal to true? Okay. Is flag equal to true? So let's see. Flag is true. Okay. Since it is true, we're going this way. So since flag is equal to true, we're now doing flag is equal to false. So we're putting the value of flag to false. So here we can say false. Okay. Since that is the case, again, count becomes 1. Okay. So since we're already in this direction, so let's just flow like that. And then we're putting it here. So count is 1. Okay. So is 1 greater than 6? No, 1 is not greater than 6. So we're going through the no direction. So what are we doing now? We're now checking, is count 1 greater than count 2? Is this greater than this? The answer is no. Because it is no, we're going this direction now. So count is now increased by 1, making count 2. So the next thing again, we are here, is 2 greater than 6? Because here is 2. Is 2 greater than 6? The answer is no, because 2 is not greater than 6. We're now moving up here to compare 50 and 52. Yeah, numbers 2 and numbers 3. Remember that, numbers 2 and numbers 3. Okay, so since 50 is not greater than 52, we're taking this no direction, and then we're coming all the way back here to say to increase counts by 3 again. So count is increased by 3. Now the next thing again, we're moving back here, is 3 greater than 6? Answer is no. So we're now comparing numbers at index 3 against numbers at index 4. So is 52 greater than 60? The answer is no. So since that is the case, we're going back all the way back here, and then we're increasing count by 1 again, making count 4. So is 4 greater than 6? The answer is still no. So we're going back up here again. What are we doing? We're comparing index number at index 4, which is this, against number at index 5. So is 60 greater than 80? The no. Now at this point we need to be careful, because the value of this has changed. So we're now comparing 60 against 63. Okay, so is 60 greater than 63? The answer is no, that's not the case. So we're going back all the way back here to increase count by 1. Okay, so count becomes 5 here. Okay, so since count is now 5, we're going back here. Is 5 greater than 6? The answer is no. So we're back here to check numbers at index 5 against numbers at index 6. So is what is the value of index 5? This is 63. So is 63 greater than 70? Take note of that. Is 63 greater than 70? The answer is no. 63 is not greater than 70. So since that is the answer, we're taking the no direction all the way back here to increase count by 6. Now, because count is increased by 6, we're now checking, is 6 greater than 6? The answer is still no. 6 is not greater than 6. So because 6 is not greater than 6, we're taking the no direction. Okay, so we're now comparing numbers at index 6 against numbers at index 7. So remember that the last value for 6 and 7, they are here. 60, 80, 70, 80, 70, 80. Okay, so since that is the case, so is 70 greater than 80? The answer is still no. Since 70 is not greater than 80, so we're taking this direction and increasing the count by 1 again. So count becomes 7. Okay, now since count is 7, we're back here. Is 7 greater than 6? The answer is yes, indeed. 7 is greater than 6. So we're taking the yes direction. Okay, so we're going all the way back here, and then we now have is flag equal to true? So let's go back to the first value of flag. Flag is equal to false. So because flag is false, we're taking this direction. It's no. So we're coming back here and then we're putting a value into result. So what is the value that we're putting into result? We're doing limit div2. Remember that limit is 7. Limit is 7 from here. Limit is 7. Okay. Div is going to return the whole number part of this division operation. Okay. So 7 divided by 2 is actually 3, remainder 1. So the answer here will be 3. So 3 plus 1 will give us 4. And where are we putting it? In result. So where is result? Result is after swap along the same direction. That would be here. That will be 4. I hope it is in the right direction. Yes, it's in the right position. So this becomes 4. Now, since we have this as 4, the next thing is for us to take this direction, output numbers, result. So result here is 4. Remember that result is 4. So we are outputting the element at number 4. What is the element at number 4? So since we find this direction, now we need to take care to make sure that we find the last entry. Of course, the last entry is 60, okay, which is the only entry here. So we're now going to output 60 here, in the right place, okay, here. So we're now going to output 60. Yeah. So let's be sure 60. Yes. So this looks good. So, and then the program is going to end. So we're basically done with this flowchart and the trace table. Okay. Let's just quickly answer this B part of the question before going to check the math scheme to compare what we have done and what the math scheme says. Okay. To see that we are at par with the math scheme. So here, number 1, the question says, outline the processes involved in the algorithm shown in the flowchart on page 6. Processes, what action, what do you think the flowchart is trying to achieve? What did the flowchart actually do? Okay, so the first thing we notice that it inputted some values, okay, into array. So we can say input integer values into an array. Okay, so after that, what next happened? It sorted, you see, it tried to sort the array. Okay, so sorting the array in ascending order. Okay, taking the lowest value up and the highest value down. Okay, all right, so that's that in ascending order. So what's the next thing that it did? It now, if you check, it displayed 4. 4 is the element in the middle, so it displays the middle element. Okay, so you can say number 3 displays the middle, or you can call it median, as the case may be. Middle, middle element. Okay, let me just come here, take out the space. Okay, displays the middle element, or outputs the middle element, or prints the middle element. Any grammar you want to use is very okay. So with that, we've attended to this question. So if you have done this as successfully as we have, then you should have 10 marks in the bag. Hooray! So let's check the math scheme again to see. Let's check the math scheme to see if we are correct. Let's go there. Okay, so checking the math scheme, let's compare it with what we have done. So checking the mark scheme, we would see that the marks are awarded by the column, okay, not by the row. So column of limit, column of count, column of the array input stage, and then the array output stage, okay, the array column for sorting. Okay, so let's quickly just compare the columns and see. Again, for the flag, for the swap, for the result, and for the output. So you see is by the column. So by just simply comparing the entries in the column, regardless of the space, if you put any space there, regardless of it, so we're just comparing the values along. Okay, so number 7 remains 7. So even if you as a student decide to write 7 7 7 7 7 all the way down, it is still very okay. You will get the marks. If you choose to write 47 47 47 just to maintain the values so that it will be easy for you to compare, you are still good to go. The mark will still be given to you as long as you don't have a change of values in your entries. Okay, so check 50, 52, 80. Okay, so you see everything looks good. Okay, so let's compare index 5, which is 80 and 63. we have 80 and 63, you see, so we're good. Again, let's compare index 7, 70, okay, 70 and 80 and 70. So let's check. Is this 70? 63, 80, sorry, 70. 63, 80, 70, so we're good. Again, let's compare this one, 70, then it changes to 80, 70, changes to 80. This is very correct. Okay. Let's check the flag. True, 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 false, true, false, and then true, true, false, true, true, false. So you see, so we are good. It doesn't matter whether you skip a space or not, the marks will still be given to you. Okay, because you may choose to leave a space and write in the next column if you want, okay, and write in the next row if you want. So it all depends on you, as long as the entries along the column is correct. I believe I've made that fact very clear. All right, so for swap changed from 80 to 80. Okay, so it's still in 80, 80, which is still okay. And then where are we now? So the last part is 4 and 60. I believe this is 60. Yeah, that's 60. So 4 and 60. So we're good. You can see that we're good. So as per the trace table, we are 100% good. And this one maintains like that, keeps changing. You can see 1, 2, 3 all the way to 5, and then changes to 6, and then 7, and then 1 all the way to 7. So which is very okay. So for the B part says it said the number is input. Okay, so yeah, so we input integer values into an array, so that means we're storing it into an array, so which is very okay. The numbers are sorted. Okay, so we sorted it. Okay, of course this is done using bubble sort, although we didn't mention that, but then it was our answer is sufficient enough to capture it. Okay, and now the middle number is printed. Okay, it's found and displayed. Okay, so you could say it's printed or it's found or it's outputted, whatever you say along the direction of the answer is very okay. All right, so I hope you like this video. Okay, so please do how to like, do how to share, do how to subscribe. Okay, so that way this video gets to as many persons as possible. All right, so is there any area that you want us to look at, any particular question you want us to consider? Please do how to let me know in the comment section. I will try as much as I can to do justice to it. Okay, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys again in the next video. Bye for now.